1,000 Uber passengers. These are all the nationalities that I have met while Uber driving 1,000 people. At the end of the video, I'll fill you guys in on more details on this particular topic. All right, everybody. So I am finally at the 1,000 passenger mark on Uber. So I'm going to tell you what it's been like to drive 1,000 people to their destinations. Now today I had one passenger that was going to the trenches. I'm talking about the real streets of Sarasota. And you're probably wondering, are there really bad neighborhoods in Sarasota? Let me just step back for a minute and let you see what it was like taking this passenger to their destination. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and delete the audio as we pass this little conversation right here. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. The homie's talking to the popo, so.
Truck, man. Let me get that truck. That's a nice truck right
there. Okay, I'm sorry. Were they catcalling my truck? No, you can't keep my truck. No, I pay for this truck. Yeah, I can't just let you take it like that. But anyways, yes, as an Uber driver, you get to go to interesting places that perhaps you wouldn't get to go to. And there are a few neighborhoods that even on a Wednesday afternoon are pretty interesting in the Sarasota area, this being one of them. But as always, I mean, they have cameras in this neighborhood and on just about every block if you paid attention. They got those machines that listen for gunshots and triangulate them. They got cameras on the light posts, cameras on the street corners. It seems like there's more security in this neighborhood than there is where I live. So I'm not really, I mean, and then you got people to talk to the police on top of that. So, I mean, you got audio, you got video, You got the whole package going on in this neighborhood. And then you got a church every other block, which means that if you do get arrested around here, you're getting those criminal enhancements. So it seems like a trap to me, for the most part, to live in one of these neighborhoods. There's a lot of video surveillance. So I wonder why they trip out about noticing the GoPro. The GoPro does have limited capacities, but those cameras that the police station has put up in your neighborhood are able to zoom in really close. I don't know if you knew that. So anyways, I'm not sure exactly why people are so paranoid about my GoPro when there's like 100 other cameras here that are being fed directly to the police station. But hey, to each their own. As an Uber driver, you will get to see places in the city you live in that nobody else will. And there's many places in the Sarasota area that are kind of like this. It's interesting how like people may be familiar with this area up here of the city, but they have no idea that just a few blocks away is another world. And that's kind of the reality of Sarasota. It's still overall a very nice and very safe city. There's other parts of the metropolitan area like Palmetto and parts of Bradenton that are definitely worth avoiding. Now, I have taken countless people to these housing projects here, and they have all been very nice, very friendly, and in fact, when they see me again, they even wave and say hello. So if you're looking to get intimately familiar with the city you live in, I do believe that Uber driving will give you the ability to know more about your city and your neighbors than you are probably comfortable with knowing. Some people have absolutely no filter when they're in the backseat talking to the phone to a complete stranger about every detail in their life. But I will say this honestly, the overwhelming majority of people that you are going to deal with are going to be extraordinarily courteous, respectful, and decent people. And most people are willing to talk. Every once in a while, you get an oddball that is kind of a loner who doesn't want to talk. Every once in a while, you get somebody who's paranoid of being in an Uber and you can see and smell the fear on them. You get your oddballs from here to there. And every once in a while, you get some outright nasty people. And then there are dangerous people. And there's people engaging in illegal activities and trying to use you as a mule for the operation. These types of things happen. Choosing the right areas to Uber drive will probably eliminate about 99% of the problem situations. If you happen to start Uber driving in the bad areas, your chances of running into a problematic passenger can be as high as 1 in 3. And by problematic, I mean they're engaging in illegal activities. In the area of Bradenton at night, for example, probably 1 in 3 people is going to be problematic. If you were to take 8 or 9 passengers in Palmetto, Ruskin, or any of those other crap hole suburbs between Tampa and Bradenton, you are guaranteed you're going to have a problem. You're going to have people try to refund the money by complaining about you. You're going to have people try to scam you. You're going to have people try to pull all types of wicked crap. But if you're working beaches, downtown airport, and those types of areas, especially the islands, the chances of running into somebody undesirable are about 1 in 30. Now, your experience Uber driving will vary tremendously from mine. I live in Sarasota. Your market could be better, it could be worse, it could be safer, or it could be more dangerous. I recently had a passenger who's an Uber driver in New York City, and he was telling me that in the Bronx and in some parts of Brooklyn were pretty scary to Uber drive. He particularly mentioned Jamaica, Flatbush, and South Bronx as places to absolutely avoid, with people who will downright try to take your vehicle from you. Every Uber driving experience is different depending on your market. Sarasota is overall a great market, and even working in these scarier neighborhoods on the north side of Sarasota, it isn't that bad. As long as you're driving somebody from or to the neighborhood, if they're going from one bad neighborhood to the next, those are always rides to avoid. And if you live in a fancy gated community in Sarasota, it is completely normal for me to pick up somebody in one of these worst neighborhoods under suspicious circumstances and drop them off in gated communities. So if you think that the stretching arms of crime don't reach where you live, you're absolutely mistaken. But overall, Uber driving has been a really great experience for me. I actually like doing it. The money that you make on Uber is pathetic at best. It isn't any real type of money. You certainly couldn't make a living on Uber. And if you did, it would be a miserable existence. I will tell you that the money isn't the reason why I do it. I do it at the end of the month because I get tired at the end of the month, or I just need money right away sometimes. For example, if I'm driving across town and I can get a ride, it isn't a bad idea to turn the app on and make money on the way there. Overall, how somebody can make a full-time living on Uber with the cost of living these days doesn't seem rational. When it comes to money, Uber really isn't a lot of money. It's more of a gig than a full-time job. Now, the mileage depreciation on my very large and expensive vehicle, I think in about 3 years, I can completely depreciate the value of my vehicle through mileage write-off. And that's possibly one of the perks or advantages of Uber driving in a very expensive vehicle. Is it's a good way to get a write-off if you need it. I mean, practically the first 1,000 passengers made me about $15,000, which are gonna serve towards like a $10,000 tax write-off on mileage. It's 0.67, I believe, this year. So if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, don't criticize somebody's behavior before you understand it. It is a write-off. And one thing that I've learned through the years is if you can write something off, write it off. It's the way the tax system in this country works that incentivizes capitalism. Anyways, at the end of the day, a lot of people really do trip up about the fact that I'm Uber driving in a nearly $70,000 vehicle. It is very fancy, very nice, and some people just don't understand it. But like I said, if you know, you know, and if you don't, you don't. If you didn't realize it, on my YouTube channel, we do drive around videos, and drive around videos consist of a lot of the things we upload. So driving around on somebody else's dime, even if it isn't a lot, is a freaking no-brainer. So if you are going to Uber drive, you need to expand your horizons and say, what am I actually doing here? Am I Uber driving for whatever the crap they pay you? It can get you out of a pinch, I'm not going to lie. If you need $100 today in the United States, it may be hard to find that money in your bank account other than going to a pawn shop. I don't even know, like if you're completely broke and you just need $100 in your bank account today, right now. And I know a lot of you guys are like, oh my God, Jose is broke, he needs $100. Yes, I do. Who doesn't? If you act, I love how there's people who like live paycheck to paycheck in their mama's basement, and then they criticize me for Uber driving. But to keep it real, there are times when I need $60, $80, or $100 in my bank account right now. And I'll tell you what, there aren't too many ways that you can just right now instantly, like literally, it is midnight right now. If I needed $100 by 3 a.m., I could go Uber drive and maybe make it. And after those 3 hours, I can press a swipe button, and in 3 seconds, the money is in my bank account. There are not too many ways that you can do that. There's only so many ways that you can literally make money out of thin air, and there's times when I need it, and Uber is great for that. So if you're somebody who sometimes is like $100 short or something, and you just need it at the end of the month, with Uber, you can do that. And I've had weeks where I've needed $700 that week, and I've been able to do it on Uber. I think my best week monetarily, I had a week where I made close to $750. I needed it that week, and I just drove every day nonstop, and I made it. So that's the thing about Uber driving. You can make money instantly, and you don't have to wait 2 weeks to get paid. You just get paid the moment you need it. So if you're one of those person who at the end of the month is like, crap, I'm $100 short for something, or I don't get paid till Friday and it's Wednesday, Uber drive. And I would say that for a fact, if you have a job and you find yourself short on money, where else are you just going to come up with $100 out of thin air? Like, there's days where I'm driving around looking to interview somebody, and all I'm doing is literally driving around urban areas looking for somebody on the side of the road to interview. That takes a lot of gas. That takes a lot of time. There's days where I'll drive around the whole day looking for somebody that I can try to interview, and you just don't find the right person. So those days, I can lose $50 or $60 on gas. But if I'm Uber driving, I can do the same exact thing on somebody else's gas money. And I like being up to date on everything that's happening, meeting people every single day. So one thing that I like to do is pick people's brains, my passengers. I try to extract information from my passengers because I'm in the move. I'm a YouTuber. I got to know what's happening in my community. I got to know why people are traveling here, what they're doing. Like a lot of my stories that I get them through the people I meet in the community. Imagine if you have the chance to spend, I don't know, 25, 30 hours a week talking to somebody in your community about things that are happening around you, you would probably come up with some pretty good ideas about what's happening in your community. And many of the stories that I get them off the ground talking to the people that I meet. For example, I have had 2 videos recently that have made me really good money, videos that got a lot of views. And those videos were ideas that I got from my passengers. Somebody gets in the car, hey, how's your day going? Well, I'm dealing with this situation. Then the next passenger gets in the car, hey, I'm going through this. And I'm like, whoa, that's the second person today that I met that's going through this situation. And one of the craziest things that I discovered about Uber passengers is that the things that I'm worried about, the things that are going through my mind, are practically the same worries that other people in my community have. And this has just been like the floodgates of information to come up with video ideas. So I mine my passengers for information about what they're living, what they're going through, what their experiences are, the things that they're worried about, and that keeps me up to date on what's happening in my community, which makes my YouTube channel better. I didn't really understand too much of this area until I started Uber driving. There are so many little antics about this community, little places that are unique, people, areas, communities. I mean, you're dealing directly with people. I've had the opportunity to deal with lawyers, politicians, people that are somewhat famous, people that are wealthy, business owners, people that work for local government, law enforcement officers, retired law enforcement officers. It's just every person that walks into that car has a different story. I recently got somebody who's living illegally in the United States and just openly talked to me about their status of living here illegally, information that you're not going to get anywhere on the internet. These are real life stories, real people. And I think with Uber driving, it makes me just be in touch with the streets and what's happening in my community in a way that I don't think any other occupation could, short of being, let's say, a lawyer, a psychologist, or working at the city hall. Perhaps the person at the bank who sees how much money you have in the bank when you walk through the door. I've known somebody who's had that job, and that's an interesting job. There are jobs that at face value don't really give you too much, but what you learn in the process of doing those jobs is just unending wealth of information that you can use and utilize in different ways. And that's the way I try to extract the most out of each passenger beyond just the monetary figure that's attached to that ride. If I had to think about the scariest moments Uber driving, almost all of them happened at night. If you don't want to be terrified for your life, don't Uber drive at night. In the daytime, you are far less likely to deal with one of these terrifying scenarios. In fact, I can think about 3 terrifying scenarios that I've had Uber driving. All 3 of them were at night. There was a guy who I had to kick out of the car at a gas station who I thought was going to fight me, but eventually he ran out of the door and didn't want to fight. He was about 6'4", much bigger than me. There was a girl that I took all the way to Tampa at night. When I got to Tampa, she pretended like she didn't know where she was at, and she crawled into a ball and started crying. But I told her, you can't stay in my car. She was trying to get me to take her somewhere else that wasn't on the map. I told her I couldn't do it. I could drop her off at a gas station or at a police station. She said no, she was scared, she needed help. And I called the cops. The moment I dialed 911, she launched forward and tried to snatch my phone from me. And then she ran out the door and disappeared. I'm pretty sure they were trying to set me up for a robbery. But the issue being that late at night is very scary. There's a female who made advances on me. When I denied her advances, she got very upset and she lied on me. She did something that got my account closed for 11 days. That story's somewhere on my YouTube channel. I've had people pass out in my vehicle under substances, completely blanked out. Particularly in Bradenton and Sarasota, that's really a problem. I have never had a single person vomit or throw up, urinate or poop in my vehicle. and that has been incredible. I did have a young girl who spilled a drink in my car and didn't tell me about it. That's about the worst thing I've seen. And then there's people that leave garbage and bubblegum in your car. Very horrendous thing to do, but they do it. So far, there's a few scratches in the back seat that weren't there before. I think many people get car sick in Uber rides because the way the drivers drive, they don't know how to drive, and their vehicles are very small and claustrophobic. My vehicle is extraordinarily large and comfortable. It would be very difficult for somebody to get car sick in a ride that big and comfortable. So I haven't had it happen yet. I've had individuals where I've had to check them and say, hey, dude, you're too drunk. You're going to throw up. If you throw up in my car, it's going to be a problem. And they've been like, oh, if I'm going to throw up, I tell them, like, if you get a passenger and you think they're going to throw up, you need to ask them, hey, you look like you're going to throw up. You better not throw up in here. If you need to throw up, let me know and I'll stop. If you get somebody who asks you to stop at a gas station, at first I used to say no. If somebody asks you to go to a gas station, you need to say yes, even if you know they're scamming you, because at the end of the day, they could have explosive diarrhea. They could have any other type of hygienic issue you don't want to know about. So if somebody asks you to make a sudden stop, you do need to make that happen for them, because many times it will save your vehicle from getting defecated, vomited, or who knows what other health complication that person may have. So as a courtesy, it doesn't happen that often. If somebody asks you to make an unplanned stop, you should probably go for it. Anyways, all that has helped me litigate to where I haven't had those types of accidents in the vehicle. Possibly some of the worst experiences are also people who stink really bad. And I mean, there are people whose body odor is so bad that you literally have to wash the car after you're done. As a policy, if somebody smells herbal, they do not get to ride, they get kicked out. However, I have noted that if an individual is a short ride, I've made exceptions for people, but 95% of the time, if somebody smells herbal, they don't get to ride. It's not legal in the state of Florida, and these people never tip, and most of the time they're doing something illegal if they're transporting stuff in your car that you don't want. A lot of times they say that it was previously in the day, but it's not true. They have it on them. You have individuals who make small requests, like here I was going to make a U-turn. She was scared of a U-turn, so she made me go ahead. You get people that ask for all types of random things. It's just accommodate them if it's something small. For the most part, people just make small requests like that. Like this person didn't want me to make that U-turn there. So whatever, you just accommodate people's small little needs and desires. Like you don't have to be completely in control of everything. It's okay to relax and just let things be. If you start to see red flags, I do kick people out all the time. I do not tolerate actual disrespect or misconduct. I instantly suppress it, evict them if that's the situation. As of now, my acceptance rate is at 17%. That's extraordinarily low. I know the rides I want and the ones that I don't want. I don't waste my time with rides that are not going to lead me anywhere. My cancellation rate is 4%. Sometimes I get it as low as 2%. I use my cancellations to get rid of passengers that I don't want to deal with. I don't use them because I feel like I don't want to, like, oh, I changed my mind, I don't want to work, or traffic's too heavy or something like that. Well, lately I have used 2 cancellations because traffic is too heavy. You know, don't sit there in 40 minutes of traffic to reach somebody. It's not worth it. But overall, my cancellations are reserved specifically for getting out of very uncomfortable situations, so I don't use them liberally. My rating is a 4.97. That's kind of pretty high, I think. 4.97 out of 1,000 rides. You let me know if you think that's good. I think that's an extraordinarily good rate. My satisfaction rate is at 100% for deliveries. The lower you keep your acceptance rate, the better off you are, because you're not dealing with crappy people and areas or rides you don't want. That's an extraordinarily low rate. If the rides are good, you could easily get that up to 85%. It just hasn't been like that lately. Lately, my truck gets really bad gas mileage, and I'm very selective about the rides I accept. I calculate that you could easily make $15,000 to $20,000 on Uber recreationally. That means with no effort, not burning yourself out, whenever I feel like it. Now, I know a lot of you guys criticize me for doing this Uber thing, saying you're a YouTuber, you should be making so much more money. Okay, maybe I've already made $100,000 a year and still need another 10 or 15 or 20 more. You don't know what my life is like. And at the end of the day, it's like, who doesn't need 15, 20,000 extra dollars every year? that you're making passively without burning yourself out. Because the question here is that, like, right now it's 2 in the morning. If I feel like going for 40 minutes of Uber driving, I can make 20 or 30 bucks. Why wouldn't you? Like, literally, I just think it's a good little occupation for me for my free time. It's a nice little gig. It's not a bad thing. I wouldn't want to do this full time. I wouldn't want to depend on it. There's times where it dries up and there's nothing. And there's times where you get peaks and highs and lows. So this isn't something you're going to just solely depend on. I hope that's not your case. Some Uber drivers do it. I personally wouldn't want to live like that unless my rent was extraordinarily low and my car was extraordinarily efficient. The calculation that I make is that you could go to a Toyota dealership and buy a brand new Corolla and pay it off completely with expenses and maintenance within the first year. And then from there on, you have a brand new Corolla with 20, 30,000 miles on it. It almost seems like a no-brainer to me. I don't understand why people trip up so much about doing Uber. At the end of the day, I know a lot of people that are professional and do Uber at the end of the day for another $20 or $30. If you don't need $20 or $30, or you turn your nose up at $20 or $30, well, you're not living the reality of most people in this country. So to the people that criticize me for doing it, you don't pay my bills. And I actually enjoy doing it. I really do. I'm a type of person that lives very liberally, like in the sense that nobody can tell me what to do. I live my schedule. I wake up whenever I feel like it. I don't have a schedule. I hate schedule. I hate like confinement. I hate like structure. I just like doing things when I feel like doing them. And Uber gives me the ability to be productive without having to have a schedule. And that's something that a lot of jobs won't give you. Like if somebody offered me a job right now where I can make $6,000 a month, but I had to be there from 9 to 5, I would pass on it. Even if it was $8,000 a month, I would pass on it, just so you know. So it's not the type of structure that I want in my life. If I had to give advice to somebody starting on Uber for the first time, it would be, at least here in Florida, right? Tourist only. Don't deal with day commuters or garbage. Peak hours are garbage. All of that is garbage. Find tourists. They tip generously. Music plays a huge role in what I do. I have YouTube Premium and I use it on 80% of rides. There is a passenger that is talkative. If your passenger is talkative, you need to turn off the radio and engage in conversation. I'm the type of person that would listen to music all day, but you have some passengers where you need to pay attention to them and ignore the music, or have the music be as a backdrop. Knowing the volume when it's appropriate. There's a person that likes to hear thinking about me. Okay, if it's a redneck or some young girls, they want to hear thinking about me. They want to hear country music. Okay. Then you got the Chattahoochee, you got the Margaritaville, you got the Plies, you got the T-Pain. You got to know who's walking in the vehicle. Firefall, you have to know who's walking in and what they want to hear, or if they want to hear. And if somebody's from a particular nationality, you're Brazilian, boom, put the Brazilian music on. You're Mexican, I got the Mexican music. If you're from the hood or you're black, I know what you like already. If you're country, I know what you like. If you're an older person, I know what you like. If you're a wealthy person, I know what you like. If you're from England, I know what you like. If you're from Peru, I know what you like. Every person you get, if you're from France, I know what you like. If you're from Italy, I know what you like. And if the person knows that you're cultured about them, they're going to respect you. If you're Ukrainian, I know the Ukrainian music. Do I know what they're saying? No. But if I get a Ukrainian passenger and I put on that Kerbabin, if you got the Haitian, you got to go with the compa. If you got Brazilians, you got to go with the funk. You just have to know who your passenger is. Identify while you're from this country, I got you, bro. Hey, listen to this. I just had some people from Italy today. I put on the Eros Ramazzotti, and they were super excited. They're like, you know this guy from our country? Yes, I do. If they're Indians, I got the same. I got the red Challenger. You just got to know who your passenger is and what they like. Is if you put them on the music from their home country, and I got people from Ukraine that don't expect you to know about their culture. I got people from Indonesia that don't expect you to know about their culture. I got people from Cambodia and Vietnam. They may not expect you to know about their culture. My biggest tip so far has only been $50. I hear Uber drivers all the time tell me that somebody gave them $100. Look, I'm in a brand new truck. I don't think somebody's going to give me $100. They're going to probably give that to somebody whose car is a little bit more modest, who has a picture of their daughter in the dash. You know what I mean? That person inspires. I know some people ask me, do you have kids? And what they're really asking me is, do you want a $100 tip? And I always say no, because I don't have kids. I know what the person that's going to get the $100 tip isn't going to be me, because I'm in a brand new truck and people are not going to give you money if they think you're able to produce your own money. They'll treat you right, but they're not going to go out of their way. My biggest tip so far has been $50. It was a Vietnamese guy in Bradenton who was impressed how much I knew about his culture. So learn about people. If somebody's from Thailand, tell me about your music, tell me about your food, tell me about your music. Save their music in a playlist, and the next time you get somebody from Thailand, you got some music from Thailand, and your next Thailandese, whatever they call themselves, passenger is gonna be like, hey, yo, you know about haka haka haka? Yeah, man, haka haka. You know what I'm saying? Whatever it is they're into, you know it. You know what I'm saying? I just had a black guy from France, man. I know some black music from France, and the dude was freaking excited about it, bro. I know it sounds like in Trading Places where the guy was like, oh, you the exchange student from Cameroon? Yeah, it feels like that, yeah. I know it might feel like that, but seriously, dude, like if you get somebody, like learn about their culture, and then the next time you get somebody from that nationality or that culture, you have something to let them know that you appreciate them and that you like their culture, and that's really it. I've also played around with people. Like I'll get somebody who I know does not like rap music for a fact, and I'll put on, Trick Daddy or something just to play with them. I've had people that I think look racist, and I'll play Mexican music the whole time. You know what happens? They start a conversation with you because they would rather like try to talk to you, because the passengers do want to engage you. Like I've had people like, this guy looks like he's racist. I'm gonna put on some Mexican music and see, you know what I'm saying? And the dude will start a conversation with you, because he'll want to converse with you rather than hear music that he's not relatable to. So the reality is that most people would rather engage, learn, and kind of make a good reaction and good interactions with people. And that's what makes Uber driving great. It's really enjoyable. It's really fun. You'll get rid of a lot of your prejudices if you have them, or you could keep feeding your prejudice. Now, me, for example, I have at first Uber driving, it was very difficult dealing with prejudice. Today, I am really good at not having those problems. I've learned by dealing with people of different races and different backgrounds what is okay, what is not okay, and you just become more normal around different people. So I think if you're one of those people that just kind of deals with shell shock, Uber driving puts you in contact with different people of different backgrounds, and it'll help you learn how to interact with people in healthier ways. And even today, I look back on my day today, and I said one thing that possibly could have made somebody feel uncomfortable, but I look back on, okay, we're going to correct that. We're going to fix that. And you just keep improving your interactions with people, and you get better at dealing with people. But again, if you're going to do this in Florida, Las Vegas, or another place like this, avoid commuters. They don't tip. Stick to tourist areas. They do the best. It's almost impossible to run into a tourist who is in a bad mood. They're out there, but they're very hard to run into. Tourists are probably your best option. So if there's a touristy area in your city, or people going out to dinner to fancy restaurants, stuff like that, that's really where the money is at. Day commuters rarely tip because they're barely surviving. And don't ever underestimate somebody. Somebody could be disabled, on a limited income, living in a very poor neighborhood. That does not mean that they're not going to tip you well. Never underestimate the potential that each person has to be generous regardless of their situation. I don't deal with bad attitudes. If somebody has a bad attitude, I pull up to the next gas station, tell them to get out quickly, cancel the ride, and leave. Never deal with bad attitudes. But if somebody's having a bad day, you need to figure out a way how to change that. And believe me, some of the most compelling stories that I can tell you from Uber driving in these 1,000 rides have been people who are having a bad day, and I brought a smile to them. It may be a small action. It may be offering them something, even if they don't accept it. It's just the notion that you cared can make a difference in somebody's day. You're going to run into people who are crying, who are going through divorces. You're going to find people that recently found out their marriage mate cheated on them. You're going to find situations where people are crushed. And there are times when you just have to sit there and be there. And there are times where you need to kick into action and say, how can I make this person's day better? How can I bring a smile to your face? If somebody did you wrong, somebody did something wrong for you, let's make it up. Like, can I buy you a sandwich? Can I get you something to eat? Can I, refund the ride for you? Is that okay if I refund the ride? I want to do this for you. I'm not doing this for the money. I'm doing it for you. Like, I've had situations like that where I've offered somebody, hey, you know what? I'll pay for the ride. I just want you to get where you're going, and it's on me. And they don't accept it, but it means so much to them that you're willing to do that for them, that it helps that person just pick it up, get it together. And as an Uber driver, I do find there are very fulfilling moments. Perhaps not every day, but quite often. All right, guys. So among the 1,000 passengers, we're going to start off with Europe. Albania, Armenia, Austria, Belarus, Belgium, Bosnia, Bulgaria, Croatia, Cyprus, Czech Republic, Denmark, Estonia, Finland, France, Georgia, Germany, Greece, Hungary, Iceland, Ireland, Italy, Latvia, Luxembourg, Monaco, Poland, Portugal, Romania, Russia, Serbia, España, Spain, Sweden, Switzerland, the Netherlands, Turkey, Ukraine, United Kingdom. United Kingdom, the British people are probably my favorite passengers. They tip very well and they're very fun, and I love their accent. On the North American continent, Belize, Canada, Costa Rica, Cuba, Dominican Republic, Salvador, Guadeloupe, Guatemala, Haiti, Honduras, Jamaica, Mexico, Nicaragua, Panama, Puerto Rico, Trinidad and Tobago, the USA, and the Virgin Islands of USA. In Asia, Bangladesh, Cambodia, China, Hong Kong, India, Indonesia, Israel, Japan, Laotian, Malaysia, Mongolia, Myanmar, Nepalese, North Korean, Palestinian, Filipino, South Korean, lots of South Koreans, Taiwan, Thailand, Uzbekistan. Yes, believe it or not, they didn't speak English, but we spoke music. Vietnam. South America, Argentina, Bolivia, Brazil, Chile, Colombia, Ecuador, Perú, Venezuela. Más venezolanos de lo que te puedes imaginar. África, Angola, Cape Verde, Egypt, Kenya, Madagascar, Mauritius, Morocco, South Africa, Western Sahara, and of course Australian continent, Oceania, American Samoa, Australia, Guam, and I think New Zealand, but I can't remember. Basically, these are all the nationalities that I have encountered while Uber driving in this metropolitan area with only 1,000 passengers. If I could just fill in a little bit of Africa and Asia, you can say that while Uber driving, I've met people from practically all over the globe. Particularly the attractions of Siesta Key and Anna Maria Island attract tourists from a global level. Siesta Key is named one of the best beaches in the world, so we get tourists here from the entire planet. This is something you're not going to get everywhere. These are all the people I've met while Uber driving, and to me that is very special and unique experience that I don't think you're going to get anywhere else. But more important than the money and more important than the people I've met, to me, are the memories that I have made. Driving through Sarasota at night from the island across the bridge and through downtown has been so profound of an experience. Keep in mind that a lot of my driving late at night, and it has just been a very profound experience that I can't compare to anything else. I mean, I have made memories in my lifetime, and I know that right now, driving through these streets at night, I'm making some of the best memories of my lifetime. It has been just an incredible experience, and I don't think I can put a value on the fact that I have made some of the best memories of my lifetime doing exactly what we're doing now, just driving in my beautiful pickup truck through Sarasota, picking up random people, trying to see what music they like, what mood they're in, and I can't lie, it really has been very meaningful to me. It's been an enjoyable experience, and the memories that I have made are going to be, well, for a lifetime. You know, like as you get older, you start to realize, okay, this is going to be a memory. And the things that are going to be memories are not going to be the money. It's not going to be anything other than the things you're always going to remember. And I think this is a stage of my life that I'm always going to remember fondly.